When I awoke from my dreamless sleep, I was just in time to witness the end of the world.
The people here know that it's almost over.
Yeah. Only 13 days to go.
Gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for joining us today to talk about Final Fantasy Lightning Returns. Opening question, can you be a little bit more specific about the time element in the game and how it operates? As far as I understand it, the idea is you won't have enough time to play through all the quests, but is it a bit more flexible than something like we've seen in Dead Rising or Majora's Mask?
ちょっと今お話に出たムジュラの仮面とデッドライジングというゲームをやった。
Unfortunately, I haven't actually played either of the games you mentioned, but in Lightning Returns, the key thing is in a quite limited space of time given to you, how you can see everything and accomplish your tasks and meet your conditions. And we believe there is enough time for you to play all the quests, but if you're ambitious enough to see everything the game can offer, the time might be a little bit tight.
だけでいうと十分な時間があるんですが、本当に全てのものを見ようとすると本当にギリギリの時間という感じになっています。
We have played the game, and it seems to be yet another step away from traditional mechanics that people associate with the Final Fantasy series. Do you still consider the game an RPG, or is it more leaning towards an action adventure at this point in time?
Actually, when I make games, I don't really think about what genre it's going to be. So it doesn't really occur to me. But when we talk about RPGs, you might associate it with exploration elements, which is actually we find plenty of it in this game. You mentioned action, but when I mention action, but I mean Lightning Returns, the field is in 3D, so we actually had to come up with the right ideas to implement the right moves that you should be able to take in a 3D field. But we don't really regard this game as an action adventure because we don't really want to pigeonhole this game to any of these existing genres anyway.
From the world that we have seen so far, from the cities, from the desert levels, it's quite a varied landscape in Lightning Returns. I just want to touch upon what was the inspirations behind the designs, behind the areas that you came up with.
As you may know, the world in Lightning Returns consists of 4 floating islands, or continents, if you like. One of them is called Xerion, and it's a very religious area. The designer who designed the particular area in the game took the inspiration from medieval European cities and combining it very successfully with kind of near-future elements as well to create this very almost eerie feeling. So lots of inspirations have been taken from architecture, for example.
Most modern era Final Fantasies are built upon a specific theme or set of themes for the storyline, for the narrative. I'm interested to know, for Lightning Returns, what is that theme? Have you built the game around?
難しいテーマではあるんですけど。
It's quite abstruse theme, if you like, because in the story of Final Fantasy XIII, for example, we told a story about the conflict between gods and goddesses and the mankind. So the kind of conflict between different things has always been a kind of big theme in the series, and in Lightning Returns, you follow the story, emotional trip of Lightning. So in a sense that she is experiencing a very deeply emotional conflict within herself, and that's one theme. The another thing is that but she goes out in the field to rescue people's souls. So that kind of liberation of sort of troubled souls is another theme that we think is very important to this story. So that kind of conflict and like a free soul is the kind of themes I hope that people will very closely feel as they play the game.
We have Final Fantasy X coming out with the HD remaster. Are you thinking about bundling the previous Final Fantasy 13 games together with Lightning Returns as a triple pack at some point in the future?
ですね、日本では
In fact, in Japan, we are planning on releasing a limited set of 13, 2, and Lightning Returns together with all the soundtracks in one bundle. That's going to be a bit unfortunate, only to Japanese fans. At the moment, we've got no plan of doing the same in Western territories, but I'm very sorry, so no plans at the moment.
Let's talk a little bit about Lightning as a character. What is it about the character that you guys find so iconic and that makes you want to carry on that character story, not through 1, not through 2, but 3 games?
I think it was the first time in history of the Final Fantasy franchise that we had a female protagonist who is very strong, both physically and mentally, and I think she has always come across to our fans as a hero rather than a heroine, if you like. And the Final Fantasy franchise has produced lots of famous female characters, but not female main strong protagonists. And now I think lots of girls and boys actually look up to her, and her popularity has risen globally as well. So we are very much aware of that. That's one of the main reasons why we wanted to hang on to her, if you like, throughout the entire trilogy.
ここまで作品が長く続いてくれたのかなと思っています。
As you said, she's a very strong female character, and what I'm interested to talk about then, carrying on from that, is with the outfit system in the game. There's a variety of different clothing that she can transform into, and how you guys decided to basically design this clothing in a way that is awesome to look like and looks almost like coming off a fashion label, but at the same time looks not too suggestive in a way, if that was the right term.
すみません、ちょっとデザインを直接
I'm not really fully in charge of the artistic side of the game creation, so I mean, there's a limited things I can talk about. But before we started designing the outfits for Lightning, we actually carried out a questionnaire internally to find out how Lightning is perceived by our team members. So, and we just picked up some keywords, important words, and then our teams picked on them and started creating all these outfits. So we wanted to give Lightning the outfits which do not only make her look very cool, but also something more depth to it. And one of the things that our team members said was that maybe she should be dressed up almost like a male ballet dancer. So maybe that's one of the perceptions we sort of wanted to create. So there are lots of different images, but that's one of the methods we took.
And continuing following on from that, one of the things I've noticed is sort of the difference between perhaps Japanese protagonists and Western counterparts is it'll be very stylized with the likes of Final Fantasy, whereas with Western counterparts for something like, I don't know, they'll have full-on body armor, like really well, protected. Is that just a stylistic thing that comes from the culture, or is it something that you guys enjoy because on a visual standpoint?
これはちょっと個人的にお答えさせていただく。
I can only answer the question from my personal point of view, but my take on it is that in the Western world, most of the people have got quite blessed body shape. They're tall, nice, long legs, what have you. So whatever you put on, you look great. But in Japan, lots of people have got a little inferiority complex, if you like. I mean, if you just put on a white T-shirt and Levi's jeans, I mean, not everybody would be looking great. So that I think it is lots of Japanese people have got more, stronger desire to see their characters looking great and fashionable and what have you. So that kind of desire should be, how can I say, embodied in the creation of the protagonist that they will be playing. So that therefore that sort of motivates us to create a kind of stylized character, I think.
そんな中で、まあ、今回チャレンジ
You mentioned like Western gamers might see their protagonist in a robust sort of iron armor or something like that. I mean, you can see that in this game as well as very feminine dress as well. So I mean, there are more than 80 outfits available in this game. So that I mean, the key about it, the gameplay of Lightning Returns is each player choosing the way to dress the character up and how they would like to see Lightning in, what kind of dress, how you want her to move. So that is the key thing. So just it is a pick and mix kind of experience.
I have to admit, I'm very surprised by you saying about that, about Western people look more stylized now. Because anytime I'm over in Tokyo, anytime you guys are over here, this part of the world, I'm always jealous because you guys always look spectacular. You guys have the outfit. I just want to go to Tokyo and buy my clothing for the rest of the year.
なるほど。
I think Japan generally, or Japanese people create such a great diversity and variation of clothing because we feel almost like inferior, so that we want to sort of make up the deficit by producing great clothes. So if the Western guys put on the same clothes that we create, you will look too good. So there's no competition. So we'd rather not you do that.
Fair enough. We'll leave that. We'll leave that now. I think that's wrapping up. Thank you both for taking the time to talk to us. Thank you.
What are you waiting for, Lightning? You don't have much time left before the world ends. This is your last chance for payback.
Ow! Hey, that hurts! What was that for? Ah, ouch! Hey! Blasted fluff ball!